Okay, I promise I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. This is for a spawn montage for zombies, a different way that I think is a little bit easier. I'm still working on the master animation retargeter guide. It's going to be like a 30-40 minute video. I have to edit a bunch of stuff in it, but long story short, let's get into the spawn montage. So first things first, this is not necessary. This is an effect that is played with the zombie spawning. If you do have an effect that would play that you would want to play, you have to do this, like dust or a portal opening up. For me, it's a portal. So I'm gonna rapid fire this real quick. You're gonna make a sequence. The way you do that is do SEQ, grab a sequence. We'll talk about this then in a minute. Do a spawn system location if you'd like to do an effect. The spawn system location, make a Niagara component here. The way you do that, come to your I always mess this up. Just type in system, Niagara particle system component, add that into your component list here, drag off that, get your world location. Great. Once you've got your world location, do it into your spawn system at location. Like this. Don't do spawn system attached, do spawn system at location, because you want it to spawn at the location of this Niagara component. And you don't want to do, make sure that this is auto activate, auto destroy, pre-call check. I mean, this is all stock stuff. Put in your whatever template here. If you have an emitter that's a cascade particle system, this will work as well. The way you do that is you would drag off and do spawn emitter instead at location. Once you've got that done, after the sequence, this is a redundancy. We'll get into the end later. You will grab off of your then one, do a delay of whatever rough timing. You'll have to play with this timing and deactivate. So that way, if all of this stuff here is going to play out, right, before this deactivate. So if there's any delays and stuff in here, if you kill the zombie, this will not be valid. But it hasn't gotten to this point. You're gonna stop it because this montage isn't gonna play if you shoot the zombie coming out of the ground. So if you shoot the zombie coming out of the ground, it's basically gonna stop it right there because this montage is never gonna play, and you're never gonna hit the deactivate for your system at location. So no matter what, as soon as the event begin play is hit, it's going to hit this delay, and this delay is going to run no matter what. As soon as this is finished, regardless of if the zombie is dead or alive, as long as the actor is not destroyed, which you can see is set down here, this is connected to your event any damage. If you spawn a random power-up check, stop movement immediately if he's dead, and then you run through some net dormancy, setting the client dead and everything, and then you're going to destroy the actor. I have some stuff here that's just, I don't have to do it this way. I was going to make this 10. Long story short, this is just a delay before I destroy my actor, which is 5 seconds. So no matter what, all of this will not be destroyed within that 4.2 seconds. It will deactivate my portal, regardless of whether I shoot him or not. Okay. So, after you spawn your system at location, I put zombie speed here because I have stuff that is set here that is based on the zombie speed. So these are set on zombie speed. I moved it here. This works fine. I would suggest moving this zombie speed here. That is located in between, on the begin play section, your bind event on destroyed. It's going to be right before your zombie health calculation, right here. It's going to be boop, boop, right there. Grab that, bring that over here, and plug it in. Now, come off of this. Actually, don't come off of that. Grab your character movement and do a deactivate. Once you have that deactivate, plug it into your zombie speed. That's going to stop them from moving because they will continue to move regardless of if they're playing a montage unless you tell them to stop. So here we're telling them you're not allowed to move. Right off the rip, can't move. Do a play montage, like that. Hook it up. Play rate ground, we'll get into that in a second. First thing you're going to need is a spawn montage variable. Come over to your variables, add one, name it whatever you'd like, and make sure it is an anim montage. So anim montage object reference. Once you have that anim montage, you can just drag it in, get the variable, and then once you compile, it will, when you compile and save here, it will, just like on this one that I just created, get variable, that has a new animation I can select here. So you can grab your montage that you'd like to play. First of all, let me get rid of these guys because they're soaking up a bunch of RAM. So here's my montage. Okay, I would like to just, grab this and move it, but okay, so here's my montage. Great, he plays it. We'll close that out. Make sure this is set to replicated. Otherwise, on the client side, I've had issues with it. Not sure if that's proper, actually, but I've just noticed when I do multiplayer, this works, and not replicating it does not. Grab your mesh here and put it in skeletal mesh component. So you're basically saying, I want you to play this montage on this skeleton. The play rate I have replicated. I've just created a float value here. So again, create variable, and then you can come down here and make it a float. And you can name it whatever you want. I named this play rate ground because this is the come out of a ground montage. Make sure, like I said, that that is replicated. Now, where I set this is where stuff can get tricky. If you'd like your zombie to come out of the ground faster at different waves, then you will need this. If you would not like that, then you can skip this part. So your play rate ground is the play rate of the animation. So this will increase, this number will increase how fast this animation is played over the time. And where you set that time is under your zombie speed, which is why we have the zombie speed set here. So zombie speed, so if the waves are less than or equal to 6, then you will have set speed. If they are less than or equal to, or yeah, false, and so 7 would be true, then you're going to have 220. At 8, they immediately jump up to 330, and then at 13, they jump up to 400. This is, I think the way it comes is 3. I've just added an extra step here. That's not super relevant. What you're going to want to do is just off of each one of these speed sets, you're going to do set your play rate. So so rounds 1 through 6, the play rate will be just 1, which is the standard normal play rate. It's just real time. And then we'll get into these as we go down the list, but that's where you would set your play rate. And then on the next one, so your higher rounds, do a 1.2, or if you wanted to be 1.5, you can make them crawl out faster. But I did a 1.2, a 1.3, a 1.4, depending on each wave. So they will be, I don't know what the multiplication for that is. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I just manually set them here. And they do have to be replicated, otherwise this will not function on the client side. So once you have your play rate ground, you will do a delay, do 0.2 seconds here. If you don't know how to do a delay, just type in delay and you can grab the function right here. Before we get into set visibility, go to your viewport, select your mesh, make sure it is not visible. Turn it off. Your zombies will now forever be invisible until you tell it to not be invisible. So go back to your event graph and grab your mesh again, do a set visibility. Now after that, as soon as he spawns, he will be invisible because he will spawn above the ground before he starts to play the animation montage. So after he plays after he starts the anim montage, he will be under the ground and you can make him visible again. So I do a 0.2 seconds here, and then I reset the visibility, make sure that it is checked to check. You want that visibility on. That would be still invisible. So we'll move on here. Do another, actually you don't have to do this delay. I'm going to leave this, but ignore it. What you can do, I'll talk about this anyway in case this other method doesn't work for you. You can just grab the blend, you can leave this here. You can technically disconnect that, so it will do this as soon as the montage starts to play. But at the end of the montage, on a blend out, you can go right here and into playing the next montage. So you can go blend out and do immediately into another montage. And one second. Sorry, my kid's singing. It's Easter. Yeah, you do blend out into another montage, and I have another montage here that you can create another variable, same as before, a separate variable, make sure it's an anim montage, and make sure it's replicated. But this one is just, if you don't have an all-in-one animation, like it's a two-part animation, you could technically put this in the same montage, which now that I think about it, I should just, well, actually no, because I like blend outs, and I can't blend out inside of an animation montage. That's why I did it this way. So, sorry for saying so much. So, right here, this is where he has crawled out of the ground, and now he is going to stand up. Okay, great. You've created this, set it here. The reason you want this to be not within the same montage is because, like I said, in the same montage, you cannot blend out inside of one montage. You have to play a montage, blend it out, and then play another montage. I don't know why you can't do it internally. It's annoying. I think it's stupid. And then this is the same thing as play rate ground that you've created. So you can create another float variable. Just make another variable. I'm down here, make it a float, make sure it is set to replicated, otherwise it will not work on client side. Is same as if you're going to do a delay to stand, which all this is a time. And this time is set where we set the zombie speed. I'll show you all that stuff down there in a second. They both have to be replicated. But all this is doing is delaying this montage from playing, which is the same as doing a blend out. Did I miss anything? Play rate stand. Again, play rate stand being the same as the play rate ground. Come down here, and you can set the play rate stand, or whatever your animation is called, to the next play rate, so that they will both play faster as the waves progress. And then delay to stand, again, I am setting that delay here. So 6.5 seconds, 5.35 seconds, 4.9 seconds, and 4.5 seconds, because I want this to be faster. And it is a gradient, or not, it is a, like the time, see how it goes from 4.9 to 4.5? Because there's a multiplication factor here. So you have to do the math, you have to get out a calculator, or you could just use blend outs. Which is why I recommend just using a blend out, so no matter how fast this is going. Next, you will do a delay to movement or a blend out here. You could just do a blend out again. Literally the same thing we just talked about down there at the bottom. You don't have to create this, but if you do and you want to be able to change it on the fly, you can just do a delay to movement, set the time here, make it a float by creating another variable, and then this will now be set to activate the character movement. So you'll have to grab your character movement here and do activate. One sec, kiddo. So once you have it activated, so you will activate the character movement here. Once that is activated, this is where you're going to deactivate your spawn system at location. I know we did a redundancy here, so no matter what, I can't do an is valid here. It doesn't work, if anybody knows why. I know this is going to give you errors, but it's not a big deal. It's one error, and it's for the fact that it didn't exist. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, it didn't exist. But for some reason, is valid does not work here. I'll have to go back and look at why. Yeah, I'll get into that at a later date. But this is where we're going to set the is valid. So that Niagara system component that's still running as they're climbing out of the hole is valid, then we're going to deactivate it. And then as we don't want them to be able to continue here. Like, so if I shoot them here, then it's still going to, it doesn't matter the rest of the begin play. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about, you can still shoot and kill them outside of this, and that's why we do it this way, because, hold on, let me make sure that that's right. Yeah, if we shoot and kill them before it gets to this point, then it's not going to deactivate, which is why we set it down here. It will always deactivate because it's hit off the beginning. That's pretty much all you have to do. That's it. Now, if you have a boss and you want to have if you want to skip this begin play and you want to do a separate begin play and your own separate boss, then real quick I'll show you that. Go to your boss. I have like an end game boss here. He has his own begin play with his own spawn montage, his own logic. Take the begin play, parent begin play out of the line, and you do want him to still do what all the other zombies do on begin play. You just want to skip the spawn stuff. So go back into your base zombie, do a add custom event right here, and name it whatever you would like, and then plug it in right here. This is where you're going to set all the health calculations, get the gameplay GM, third person character, make not human, all the other stuff that leads into the rest of this blueprint. Then here you can just grab the begin play that you just created and plug it in at the end of your boss zombie logic, and that is now your parent begin play, just like that. And then I pretty much did the same thing here. I have all of this stuff, which I'll have to go back through here and replicate this because for some reason it wasn't working before. But yeah, that's the bulk of it. Again, if you do blend outs, you probably don't have to use these, but if you want to use the play rates, these are great because as the waves go on. But don't worry about these really. Just use your blend outs instead. And that's yeah, that's it. If you want to, you can also add another redundancy of the deactivate on event any damage. I don't know the repercussions to that or if it's correct, but if you do, like for instance, any damage on crawl out of hole, then it will close the portal. That does not stop the zombie from spawning. It's just going to kill the Niagara effect so it doesn't continuously play. If you don't deactivate it, it's going to stay open for forever. There was one other thing I wanted to mention here. You also, I don't mind leaving this here, but all of this is going to run before it hits the zombie health calculation. So as the zombie is crawling out of the ground, he will be one shot no matter what level, which incentivizes players to shoot zombies as they are crawling out of the ground before they get up. Now, I leave it that way to incentivize players to get headshots as they're crawling out of the ground, because at later levels, it's not going to matter anyway. They're going to crawl out of the ground so fast, and there's going to be so many spawning in so many different places that, yeah, you're not going to be able to shoot them all coming out of the ground anyway. And then, just to give you an idea of what my zombie spawner zones look like, I have big, wide areas here. So they can spawn and crawl out of the ground anywhere within these areas. You know, crawl out. You don't have to do any, like, did hit, X zone, make invisible. Just start them invisible. Yeah, so they'll crawl out of anywhere within inside of these zones. And that's it. That's it. So, yep, super simple, not complicated. Thanks for watching.